doing some follow-up with the Nova Lab Extra Strength Healing Laser. Now I have been using this daily for, well, pretty much since the first live that we did with it. And so I just said that we'll just do a live stream, probably weekly, at least for a little while. Kitty's here down here as well. And, we'll just be using the time to chat with you all. Last time we had a chance to answer and talk through a couple of difficult questions, so that was really cool that just kind of happened. So I'll be turning this on. Again, this is a extra strength healing laser from Nova Lab. There's an affiliate link in the description below. But basically what it does is it uses red light and laser to help heal and reduce inflammation. And it's actually been working really well. Last time that we were on here, I had just jammed my finger, I think it was. And so in the follow-up with that, I've been using the red light every day on it, no swelling. There was still a little pain as it was healing, but now, I've never lost any mobility in it. I play the piano, so that was actually really important not to lose mobility with it. And I was able to keep playing basketball, all of this stuff. So it never swelled up, never lost mobility, and it's just hurt less and less as I've continued to use it. So that's what it was. What we did find out was that for some areas you don't want to put this right up on the skin, so I'm keeping it a little bit off the laser right now, because we had a little bit of mishap where some hair got burned. So we learned through experience that in some areas, if you don't want to smell burning hair, you don't put it up right next to the skin. But otherwise, it seems to have worked pretty well. As for a lot of their claims about, skin tone and regrowing hair, I don't know about any of that. I don't think I've used it long enough to really be able to say for that. And that's also not why I got it in the first place anyway. So it was more for the injury, healing, and recovery that I'm using it. And while we're talking about recovery, I did think about making a whole video about all of the recovery stuff that I do throughout the day, because I've realized that I've acquired quite a collection of just recovery items. Like, it started with a massage gun, which I use sometimes when I'm sore or have tight muscles. I'm taking supplements each day, collagen as well as protein to help recover after workouts and basketball games and things like that. We've got the red light now. I've got PT exercises and workouts that I do. So there's actually a lot that I do each day to help maintain my body as I'm getting into, and it's going to be mid 30s this next year. And so, it's interesting, I guess, the stuff that I've learned and that has just been incorporated into my daily routine now without even me thinking that much about it. So, I started PT initially when I had a back problem. I think this was coming off of like doing some heavy lifting, squatting and deadlifting, where my lower back was really bothering me. And so after doing a lot of PT and incorporating those exercises regularly, I'm able to move pain free with my back. Sometimes it'll flare up, and then I just need to pull out some of those exercises, and then it's going to be perfectly fine in the next couple of days. I've had stuff with my knee. That was in college, and that was something that healed on its own, surprisingly. I used to have to wear a brace all the time on it, and now I don't have to anymore. Then it's more recently it's been the ankle for me, so that's what I'm going to be working on after this 5 minutes is done with the finger. Um, so I've got turf toe on one foot, got a torn ligament in the other, and so that's what a lot of the supplements, the strengthening exercises through PT, and the laser are all designed to work on, to be able to help those to heal. And it apparently takes a lot to keep a body going after a few decades. Hey, some people are chatting in. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you all for watching. So yeah, this is just us chatting while I'm doing this, and since I got to be sitting here anyway, we might as well talk about some things either related to mental health. But yeah, I was thinking through just having a video walking through all the different recovery stuff that I do throughout the day, because there actually is a pretty good bit now that I think about it. So I talked about the PT exercise. I work out every morning, or I'm playing basketball, some kind of activity and movement in the morning which I find is really helpful for my mood and getting my day set right. And then also after that, I'll come in, get some collagen, get some protein, and have some breakfast as well. So, did I get locked down by someone yet? Yes, I am spoken for. Um, yeah, so then work throughout the day. Um, this is the one thing that I don't like as much about my work is that it is rather sedentary. So I'm just sitting in that counseling chair for a few hours each day, doing some documentation as well. So that part I don't like so much. Okay, so that's the beep that shows that the 5 minutes is done on the laser. So I'm gonna move over to, you're not gonna see this as much in this angle, but now I've got the light over um, my toe where I have the turf toe injury. Again, I think this was a football injury when we were playing two hand touch a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so again, so like this finger feels really good now. It's loose, not too warm. Again, I was keeping the laser off of the actual surface of the skin, so it's not heating up the same way. And so it is one of those weird things where like I'm trusting that it's doing something, but it also doesn't feel like a lot because the sign that it's working is that I'm not feeling as much. Um, but yeah, I've had a lot of good mobility with a lot of the sites that I'm using this on: the finger, the toe, the ankle. Where else have I used it? I've used it on the neck a couple of times. I had a stiff neck a couple of days back, and that's worked really well for it. Um, so yeah, just like I've been using it for a lot, and we're getting a lot of good use out of it. But so like towards the end of the day, oh, I also have like resistance bands for PT activities and exercises. So it's just like throughout the day, interspersing different things, whether it's mobility, whether it's the red light, or supplementing, or working out. Those are all ways that I try to keep myself healthy and keep my body performing as optimally as it can. Because it's not as easy to maintain that apparently when you're in your 30s as opposed to when you're a teenager or in your 20s. So that's kind of what I've figured out over time and had to learn the hard way sometimes. Um, oh, another thing that I do, this was something that my doctor put me onto, and this was something I had never heard of before, but she called it ice massage. And so, where it's, you take a piece of ice, and you know how they say, like, don't put ice on bare skin, so you always put it in a bag or in a cloth or something. So she said, actually, you can hold the ice in like a towel or something so that just like an end of the ice cube is exposed. And then so you rub it along the site of the injury. And this is usually to help with swelling and inflammation. So along the back of my foot, you can't really see it in this angle, but along the back of my foot on the outside of like the Achilles tendon, I've had some inflammation there. And so I would just rub the piece of ice up and down along that site, and it's always helped get rid of any swelling, pain, inflammation. Like it works really well, much more than just putting an ice pack on the site of the injury. So that's something that I learned from my doctor that was actually really, really helpful to incorporate into the daily routine whenever I have something that feels a little more tender or a little tighter. That really helps to bring down some inflammation and swelling. The rare clock, I have a wife. Thanks for asking. Short story, I had pain in my ankle and I knew something was wrong. After one use of red light, the pain was completely gone. Wow. Yeah, so I mean, I think in our family we've had pretty good results with it. Again, I've got some nagging injuries, so it could be a little bit longer for me to see results. But in terms of like the pain management of some of these injuries, it's actually been pretty good. So we're really happy with it. Again, this product was a little under 300. It's priced at 300, and then we had a discount code for like 20% off or something. I think they have a sale going on right now, for about 20% off. So if you want to pick one of these up, like it's really portable, it's convenient. So like, we're just hanging around. I'm doing the live, but I could be reading or watching videos, anything like that. And so it's nice to be able to just have that and be recovering and healing and accelerating that while you're just doing something else in the evening. So let's talk about videos that I've got coming up. One of them that's coming up is I just finished editing today. I interviewed a CEO and founder of a company called Reboot Recovery, and what they do is they run peer support groups. And so this is a non-clinical way of supporting people with PTSD and who are struggling with trauma response. And that was really interesting for me, and it really captured my attention because I think a lot of our impression that we get is like, oh, PTSD is such a serious thing. Okay, that's a beat for the laser. I'm gonna switch this onto my ankle now. Um, but yeah, so the impression that we get is like, oh, PTSD is so serious, and you need to see a counselor for it. And what he's saying is that yes, counselors have their place, but the sense that like counseling is so saturated right now in terms of people are so busy, there are so many clients, and it's hard to get a spot, then it's an opportunity for Reboot Recovery, for their groups and for their peer support to really step in and be able to provide community care, people who have been through it, and really provide some really positive results for people who go through their programs. And they said that 1/3 of the people who go through their programs end up becoming leaders themselves, and then so that's how they continue to grow. And so they work with the military, so they work with people who are struggling with combat trauma, things like that, and then also just people in the community as well. So it's a very wide-ranging national, I think international program where they have groups going on across the country. It's a 12-week cycle, and then they also said this was really cool that they've published a lot of research on their results and their method as well. So it's not just a bunch of people kind of like going around saying, I think this is the way we should do it, and I think we're helping, but like they actually have results saying that yes, they are helping for all the markers of trauma response. They are helping to improve outcomes for people who go through their programs. So I was really excited to be able to interview them and get a sense for what they're doing and how they're really benefiting people who are struggling with trauma. And that was a really exciting and cool interview to be able to do. And just to see that, like, no, it doesn't have to be counselor all the time. It can be peers, it can be other people who have been through it can be groups of people who just care and love you. And yeah, so I was glad to be able to do that interview, and I'm excited to be able to share that with you all. It'll be coming out on Saturday. If I can get all of the the extra stuff, the description and things uploaded and the thumbnail and all that, I'll probably release it early for members. So I have been doing that recently as I've gotten ahead with some videos to be able to do an early for members release. And so what that means is if you support the channel by becoming a member, it's 99 cents a month. And at least half the time I think I'm releasing videos early by a couple of days so that members get the first look at it. So you get access to my videos before anyone else does. Your comments also do get highlighted on my feed in YouTube, so that means that I'll be able to see your comments and respond to them specifically. Sometimes they get lost a little bit in the mix as people comment on them, so that's a way to guarantee that I respond or at least see what you're saying. So that's what we're up to. So I recently learned from one of my colleagues how to navigate TikTok a little bit better. So I think I have an avenue to be able to search up some topical videos from TikTok. So I found some for anxiety today, and I think that'll be an upcoming reaction video where I'm just reacting to some TikToks about the topic of anxiety. They were interesting. I think some of them were very helpful, some of them not so much. And so I'll be recording that probably early next week and be sharing that with you all soon. I've got another video that I recorded this week. Yeah, and so I'm working on that as well. So it's a pretty busy cycle. My work schedule in terms of the YouTube stuff, the videos is generally like I'll film early in the week, be editing the week, and then try to have things published early for members. The ways that I get ahead is if I have an interview with somebody, that'll usually be some other time during the week, and I will record a video in addition to that during the week. And so whenever I do an interview, that usually means I double up on the recording time, and that means I have a video ready to go a week ahead. So that usually helps me to get ahead. And, um, you know, I do think the interviews are some of the most important parts of this channel. I don't claim to have a monopoly on information in regards to mental health. And so that's an opportunity for me to be able to provide a platform for people who are doing important work in mental health as well. People who have other perspectives than I do, people who have better knowledge than I do, or have spent more time researching something than I have. Like, that's all really important uh, for me, um, just to be able to highlight the amount of work that's being done in the realm of mental health and therapy. And so, yeah, I do think the interviews, whether or not they get a ton of views or not, those are the most important parts of this channel, to be able to share resources for all of you who watch and engage. And, if it ends up providing a resource, like for example, this Reboot Recovery one, if one person watches that and recognize that as a resource that could be helpful for them, and then it saves a life or it saves a family, like that makes it all worth it. So I see those as really important parts of this channel. The reactions are fun, and the dialogue and the back and forth talking about, like, is it this, is it that, what's going on here, like that's fun too. um, but I really do appreciate the impact that some people are making with the work that they're doing, and having this channel is an opportunity for me to highlight that. So I think I've done a couple of rounds of the red light now. And hey Barbara, thanks for joining the live stream. Let me open it up for you all if you all have any questions. Where am I from? I'm in Virginia. I'm a counselor in Virginia. Beyond that, I try not to get too much into any more detail about where I'm located, but I will say I am a counselor in Virginia. But yeah, if you all have any questions, please feel free to enter those in the chat. I'm just doing my red light, which I do every night actually, but I don't think it would be that exciting for you all to see me doing that every single night. So I just do the once a week live streams in regards to that. I have toyed around with like other video ideas, so let me get some of you all's thoughts on that. So like one, I don't know if you all have seen these types of videos. It's really popular with like the sports channels that I watch, like uh, the Two Hype team, and who else does it? There's a couple of other channels that do it where it's like guess the imposter or guess the person. And so I was thinking of guess the person who hasn't been in therapy. So if I can get a bunch of volunteers or people to sign up for the video who, like, all but one are in therapy or have been in therapy, and then so I can get a team together of counselors, colleagues that I work with, to be able to like ask some questions or do certain challenges and try to figure out, like, hey, who's been in therapy and who hasn't. That's that's been a type of video that I've really enjoyed watching. So I'm hoping to be able to translate that into like creating something with that. Of course, the hard part is like I normally do solo videos, and even just bringing on one other person is difficult enough already. Figuring out the audio, the space, and the camera person to be able to do a video where it's like a table of three judges, as it were, and maybe 5 or 6 contestants, if you want to call them that. Like, that's a pretty big ask logistically. So that's something that I'll be trying to figure out. But it is something that I would like to bring over to the channel. I already talked about potentially using TikTok as a source for reactions. If you all do have ideas for things I can react to, I am open to that. Generally, like the long form stuff, like a movie or TV shows, are a little trickier. I know some of those really talk about some important mental health issues or touch on certain dynamics that are really important. It's just with like copyright, and also because we don't have any subscriptions to streaming services, that gets a little tricky to be able to make that actually happen for you all. Um, so like the publicly available stuff like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, those are probably things that are more accessible for me to be able to make content off of that. I do appreciate you sending those along when you have the opportunity. But yeah, I think yeah, 20 minutes of the red light is pretty good for me. So I'll probably be moving along with my evening now. And thank you all so much for joining me. Again, any ideas for content, please send them my way. My Instagram is and my email address for the YouTube are all on the YouTube page itself, so please feel free to check that out and get in touch with me. Oh, last update, I guess. I did get some initial inquiries about some new potential partnerships, so I am interested in checking those out. I emailed them back saying I was interested, and I just haven't heard back from them yet. So I'll keep you all apprised of that. And obviously, if we end up signing something and making it happen, then you're gonna see it in my videos as well as ads or offers and things like that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm hopeful for some of these here in the near future, assuming they get back to me. So I'll keep working on my videos, and thank you all so much for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. I hope you all have a good night.